But yeah, it's super fun to be able to bridge the gap between remote work and ADR in dubbing because a lot of it is very much consolidated in very specific places. So it's nice to give access to people who aren't in those spaces and the opportunity to play in a different medium. So super fun work all around.
Yeah, and you recently directed something, though you
I
can't say
did. I don't know if
what
I could
right
say
now,
it, but
but
I have directed something for sure by
wrap something
myself.
up in the past couple months.
Yeah, so
So
hopefully in the next month or two it comes out soon and I can announce it. But yeah, spearheaded my own project with Anthony by my side, and I've also worked with Anthony as an actor, so I know what it's like to be an actor behind the screen, behind the booth, in the booth, and then directing people as well. And I think it's a great opportunity to meet awesome people, see each other as humans, and create something together, because I think we forget that as actors because we're so in our heads as people and creators, and we're like, oh my god, I sound like shit. Sorry if we can't swear. But it's like, I sound terrible, like that line was awful, why did they pick that line? I know that happens because it happens to me. And then you just have to trust the director and be like, they know what they're doing. I gotta trust that and know that it's gonna work out all in the end, and everything is gonna come together great even if I didn't like that line. So you got to look at it holistically as an actor, as well as a director, obviously, but just trusting each other inherently, because we bring you in for a very specific reason, is because we know you can do it. And we know you, whatever you bring in is, like, at least for me, the foundation I work on I work on top of. It's like, you audition for something and I'm like, oh yeah, that's great, let's bring that in. And then you do it, and either it's a one and done take, it's perfect, or we work together to guide it towards more specific context or more specific emotion, things like that, right? So it's very collaborative in how I approach things, and I think that's the most fun way. And it feels like we're all on the same team, as opposed to this hierarchy of like me as the director, you as the actor, whatever. So it just feels more fun and more of like a very safe space to be vulnerable and create something together. So that's why I loved it.
sweet. So
Yeah.
Kevin, we were talking beforehand about some stuff, and you wanted to talk about a few things that I'm super excited to hear your perspective on. So if you'd like to share anything regarding that.
Sure. I mean, if we're talking about like all the questions we had before, yeah. Starting with first, like we were discussing, like acting versus directing, what one might enjoy more. Me personally, I do enjoy being inside of the booth a little bit more than being outside of it, but directing is like so close to as much fun as acting for me, especially just getting to watch, like being on in the chair directing some people who have been doing anime probably longer than I've been like cognitively alive. So
That's real.
you learn so much, so many techniques, seeing them in the booth, seeing them move, seeing what they do. It's just a really educational experience. So I feel like being a director has made me a better actor over time. So it's a really valuable thing because you see so many people in the industry who've been here for so long. Like I remember I was talking to a director one time for a show. I won't out them, not to date them, but at one point they're like, "Yeah, back in the day in 1996, we should do these things." And I'm like, "1996? Oh, I was born then." And they're like, "No!" And they just I feel their hearts thinking like, "I'm like old," and it was really funny. But now I just see all sorts of people, and I'll be directing an actor, and I'm like, "Oh wow, yeah, I remember your first lead. That was like one of the first anime I ever watched." And you're like, "Oh no, am I old?" I'm like, "Okay, let me stop saying that now." Wait, and just
That's so funny.
different techniques and just how you can see like the biggest best actors in the industry can be just the most humble people. You'll have somebody in the booth who's like, a legend, and they'll just do a take and flub. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, is that okay, can I do more? And I'm like, no, you're fine, I'm in your presence, you're the goat here, hold on, let's just do
Yeah,
another take.
right.
Yeah, so it's a really great experience. And like how I like got in going on to our next what we talked about, like how I got into directing was a very almost felt random kind of occurrence because there was a studio down here that I had worked a lot with on like their live action dubs and their anime dubs and all that. And one day, the owner of that studio just hit me and one of my roommates up, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to like shadow, like watch us online direct over Source Connect and like kind of just see how things work, kind of learn the ropes?" And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'd totally love to do that. And I feel like we spent like what, maybe 40 hours in Source Connect, just like doing 8-hour days, just watching what they do, looking at all the different people from newer actors to vets, and just really learning the ropes on how people direct to get the right, lines they want, the right reads to get things to fit, especially with the difficulty of doing ADR over Source Connect with the delays and whatnot. That's an extra little hassle that they had to work with. And we did that for a while. Me and my roommate were like, wow, we learned a lot from it. That was great. And then we kind of stopped for a little while. There just wasn't any more shadowing opportunities they weren't giving us. And it was like a month or two. And we're like, we really learned a lot from that. We should probably ask for more if they're working on anything. So we sent them an email. A few weeks pass by. Month passes by. 2 months passes by. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess they don't want to let us watch anymore. And then we get an email. And they're like, hey, so I got this anime. You want to direct that? And I'm like, huh? And I had not even done a trial run in the booth yet. And I'm like, okay. And they threw us on a show. We did that for like, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months. We were busting our butt on that show, put our blood, sweat, and tears into that. Then it got canceled.
Oh no.
Yep,
They
finished
did
the
you
whole
dirty.
thing. Yep,
That's
finished the
so
whole
dirty.
thing. And then the higher ups, it was above the studio they were working with, but the higher ups above them were like, you know what? I don't think so. Never mind. But we finished the whole thing. It's done. It's ready to. No, we don't want any more. Like,
Oh my
Oh.
god.
so there's a dub. The first thing I ever worked on directing wise, it exists. It's out there. It's in the ether. The files are there, but no one will ever see it.
No, that's so sad.
Yeah.
But you got paid.
Oh yeah, I got paid, so I
So
can't really
Oh,
complain. I
some
can't really complain. Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of sad. Can't see it.
It is what it is. It's the business,
Yeah.
So after that, some time goes by, and I'm like, I kind of want to do more directing. So then I reached out to Crunchyroll, and I'd be like, hey, I've been working with you guys for a long time. Can I assistant direct for you guys? And they're like, think about it. All right. And then fast forward, here we are. So it was a very almost random feeling occurrence on how I got into directing, but it's just a real fun journey. Just kind of messing with different styles that work with some actors, what you can do, what you can't do. Like I remember there was a session where I had an actor in the booth who me and him shared a lot of similar hobbies. So at one point his character's line in the dub was just okay. And I'm like, I'm not getting the right kind of okay I
Oh,
want here.
the one-liners
Yeah.
are so hard.
Yeah. So there was one point during it where I'm like, you know what? Do me a favor. Hey, bro, give me Digimon the movie Davis in the Woods, okay? And the actor's like, oh, locked in and did it immediately. And my engineer mutes, and then she's like, what the heck did you tell him? And I'm like, don't worry about it.
It's so funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's so fun, like just trying to get different things. It's like if an actor doesn't quite understand what your vision is, kind of doing different angles for it. Like, hey, you're playing an isekai protagonist, but he's actually a really bad guy. He's pretending to be better than he actually is. So I need you to pretend like you're that guy who goes in the restaurant and drops a fly in his soup and tries to get a free meal out of it. Like you need to be real swarmy with it. Like just all types of different things you can
And
do.
then it works somehow. It's
Yeah,
like-
that worked. You're like,
Yeah,
yes.
can you make sense of my nonsense? Great. Okay.
Yeah. So
I know-
I really enjoy the puzzle, like the puzzle piecing together with directing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the time I'm like saying stuff and I'm like, I don't know if that even makes sense to me, but does that make sense to you? And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, I totally get it. I'm like, okay, good, because I don't
Yeah.
understand what I just
No,
said.
I generally have to check in with people. I'm like, did my did my yapping make any sense? And they're like, oh yeah, I got it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
slay. Okay, here we go. Because I'm like, I don't know, I don't even know what I'm saying sometimes, but like I like hear it and I'm trying to put it into words, but it's like it makes sense to me, maybe, but does it make sense to you? So like checking in a lot is something very helpful for me. And it's just, we create this certain energy in the space for every actor, and it's always different. Some are more like energetic and playful, some are very like straightforward. All you need is like, okay, you're very serious, you saw the context, okay, here we go. So it really just depends on who you're working with. But I always love creating this like very safe and fun space. Like I love to laugh, I love to have fun, and it's like you feel it in the space. Even if it's like a serious like scene or character or project, right? But like just knowing that's, we can have fun, and it's like, I want to make sure you're safe and taking care of you and things like that. So trying to create that space, I found has been super helpful, and actors have been super receptive to it. So it's just playing it by ear, honestly, and just like feeling the vibes. It's all about vibes. Like, does this actor like really need a lot of encouragement? Does this actor just need like one, like just to see the preview and just go for it? It really depends, and it's fun. It's a fun challenge in that sense too, to like gauge that, because there's a lot of actors we bring in who are brand new, some who we've never worked with before, some we have. So it's a great mix. And we get to make friends along the way. So it's just really fun to see people's different processes and see what works for them, what doesn't, and adjusting on the fly. So it's
Yeah.
I'll ad lib all the time, making shit up as we go.
I feel like I'm the probably the king of weirdest directions to give over at that building, because there's like a recent time where I had an actor come in. They were like very unsure about like how they wanted to feel confident about the character sounding, and it's a very like shy, swarmy, very goofy character. So I'm like, all right, now imagine you're a feral cat and you want to be pet, but you really don't want them to get close at the same time. Now, also imagine you're shivering. So while you're doing that, shaking, giving that energy, and the actor did the read, and it worked perfect. And I'm like, yes, there's a
There we
method to my
go.
madness.
That's amazing.
That's so
There's so many
funny.
different things, and with ADR specifically, like I'm not sure how it works for your guys' remote sessions, but I know like I always have, for the most part, an engineer on the call or an engineer sitting next to me. So there's always the balancing act of also like working with my actor, but also working with my engineer too. And the actor may give a read that's like, just so close to fitting the flaps, and I'll have to, deliberate to my engineer like, hey, can you like get stretch that? Hey, can you squish that? Hey, can you move that? One frame to the right. Do this. We're missing a flap. That's not enough words. Do me a
Mhm.
favor. That actor took a big breath while they're doing that. Take their breath out and put that into the last flap so it looks natural. Like we'll experiment on both sides. So
Mhm.
I'm collaborating with the actor on that part, but I'm also collaborating with giving the engineer my own direction about how sometimes I want them to splice up a line. And so
Yes.
it's a very interesting
Oh yeah,
combo.
my favorite thing are Franken takes. I do it in my auditions, I do it in session, we do it all the time, because it's like, as long as we get the take, like I don't care how many it takes. I mean, I do, because we want to save time and money, but like as long as we get there, and I'm like, okay, can we take the first half of take 42 and then the second half of take 37, and then that breath at the end of the first take. Let's put it all together, and then it turns out to work really great. Like that's all that matters. I don't care how long it takes for the most part. For the most part. But yeah, you just like work with people in such interesting ways, because like how Anthony and I do our sessions with students, it's like I'll direct and then Anthony will assistant direct and also engineer. So like we're working together on that. I'm working with the actor. We're like, okay, let's take first half of take one, second half of take two, put them together, that type of thing. So it's like really in time, all remotely, super cool. And then we get to see it, at the end, playback, super cool. But like a lot of the work Anthony and I do with live action is over this very specific program, and there's no engineer, so we do it all ourselves, and we have to get like every loop and make sure they work out. And it's a very like particular program, so like we have to be the engineers sometimes, and it's like, okay, this is a hassle at times, but it teaches you a bunch of skills that can definitely help you in the future, even if you don't necessarily use them. Like, we've done so much work for those things that we probably shouldn't have to do as directors, but I digress. That's how the world is right now. Um, but I can't knock it because it has taught me a lot of really valuable lessons and skills that I know has been beneficial. Um, so like, it's fun to to be in those situations, not like in the moment because sometimes it can be very stressful. But looking back, I'm like, yeah, I learned a lot, and it helped me in more ways than I can ever imagine, which is so interesting. It's like it's not just me as a director, but like it helps me as an actor. It helps me as an engineer when I'm doing auditions or something. It helps me as a writer. All these different things. So get experience everywhere, really. It'll help you as an actor, help you as a director. Like, you consume things, experience things, because you don't know if some sort of experience or example is gonna like help you come up with the perfect direction
Yeah,
for this
like
actor
the
that's gonna work.
shivering feral cat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how would you ever know to come up with something like that? Like the world is your oyster, explore it. Just your imagination too. So like all those different things. Experience life. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like how do you be a good director? You gotta experience life really, and everything that it has to offer, all the good, all the bad, and know that how that translates to um, performance. It's really just tapping into humanity, and that means living life. So go live life.
I'm curious about the like preparation and like mind space stuff that you do before working on a project. So like what is it all that goes into your preparation, what you're thinking about, uh how you're approaching, what you're watching, and then actually going into the sessions. Like what does that all look like for both of you?
You go first, Kevin.
Sure. Well, I will always, of course, watch the show that I'm working on beforehand. That's my basic prep. I'll do my research on it. If I have a lot of time, I'll watch any and all seasons that I can of the show, but at the bare minimum, watching the episode that we're in, which thankfully, with anime dubbing, 90% of the context and work is already done for you. You have visuals, you have music, you've got, the previous performances from the seiyus there. So it's just for me getting the context and figuring out how we want everything to sound in tandem. And it's beautiful too, like if there is like our English dub that we can watch, so we can just get into the groove of how our actors are already sounding, what they kind of like to do and whatnot. So that's generally how I get into the groove. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, especially with like same day simul dubs of shows that Crunchyroll's been doing, like what Spirit Chronicles season 2 we're working on right now, and that's one that's coming out in the same day as Japan. So sometimes I gotta go in early to the studio and like, all right, now I gotta rip out the video files to watch this because I normally just watch everything at home, and you have to extra prep that I have to do to figure out how to watch the stuff because it's not readily available. And sometimes, sometimes you just can't watch the show in advance, and during the session, you gotta with the actor, learn how things are
Yeah.
going here there. It's a journey for both of us.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just,
That sounds super stressful and difficult.
yeah,
I've
speed,
not had
speed,
to
speed.
experience that yet, but
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's such a quick turnaround. That would stress me so much.
Anime
Like
doesn't
it's not,
stop.
yeah, it doesn't stop. Oh man. Yeah. I feel like as a director I'd be like so immensely stressed because it's like I want to know like everything because that's just how my brain works. When it comes to directing, because like I need to know I at least for me, I'm like, I need to know everything in order to give you, the context that you need. But I know it'll work in the greater context of everything else, right? So it's I don't know if I could do that. I mean, who knows? Throw me in a situation, we'll see how it works. But
you figure it
um,
out.
we'll figure it out, right? We always do. For me, yeah, it's definitely consuming it as soon as I can. I consume things very critically, for better or for worse, like all the time. That's just how my brain works. So I will always be like critiquing everything I consume, again, for better or for worse. But it helps me a lot when I direct and when I and acting too, because it's like, oh, how could I like do that differently? What other choices could I do? What type of like feeling do I want to evoke here? And just like keeping note of that in my brain, or like even writing it down. Like when I go into sessions, like I have so many notes. So it's literally like I have the session set up, but then I have like another monitor with like all my notes, and it's like obviously a synopsis of the thing, and then every like character breakdown, and like I love to note like their personality traits. So it's like if a character is very high energy, if they are very reserved, if they are very cheeky, things like that, because I think those are great markers to settle in as the actor like first experiences the product, and then as you get into the session and get into the work some more, you get more settled, right? So just like latching on to some sort of feeling, emotion, personality trait to kind of lock into, I think is super helpful, at least for me as an actor. So I kind of do that a little bit with my actors too. And, you just get a certain feel out of it um, as you go through it. And then you see people settle into it, and you're like, okay, now we can like, I'll like keep track of like things we could like loop back to if we have time. But yeah, it's mostly just giving them the context they need without bombarding them. So it's finding that sweet balance between what's enough where you understand kind of what's going on, but not too much where I'm talking to you for like 30 minutes and we cut into our recording time and things like that. So it's all about balance all the time, and it's always reiterating your process for every actor, and it's never the same. And that's the fun and challenging part of it. So lots
Yeah.
of research for me, but I enjoy it. So it's like I'm a nerd. I love to watch the stuff. I love to take notes and be like, how could I do that differently while also still honoring the original product, and then you know making it our own, because it's not just mine. It's also the actors. It's also the engineers, the adapters project, and just being like, yeah, let's do our best to create something we all enjoy and we all had fun with and all are proud of.
Exactly.
Yeah. For when you're not working on a simuldub, how early do you get the adapted script to look through, if at all?
Ah, let me see here. So it's like if, because 99% of stuff are simuldubs, but there's the one-off stuff that isn't simuldubs. Like we just had the Golden Kamui OADs, I think they're called. Like 3 episodes come out, and that technically isn't a simuldub, but the turnaround is generally the same of things, and I don't get the script in advance. The script gets created, and I don't see the script until I walk in and log into the computer and start about to start the session. So that's
That's
not
great.
something you read in advance, you prep in advance. It's something like I've already seen the show. I know what the subtitle said. Any changes in the dub script, I'll either go with them, I'll deliberate with any alt, or I'll check the translation and I might write a new line that I
Yeah.
think might fit better, depending on how things goes.
Yeah.
Especially like with how fast things are in fitting flaps. Sometimes certain actors, like myself included, certain combinations of words next to each other just make people flub or like slur their
Oh
words or something
yeah.
like that, and
Oh
that just
yeah.
Yeah.
don't work. So I'm like, all right, let's rewrite this in a way that makes it easier for you to say this thought out loud,
Yeah.
while still having the same amount of like syllables and flaps or speed and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
So there are so many moving parts when it comes to like dubbing and simuldubs, and all that stuff generally just happens in our same couple hour block that we get an actor. We figure out like, hey, is the script lines working each line as we go through? Is the voice, the speed, all that, how this character would act? It's the scariest thing about simuldubs is if we don't have all the materials, not knowing if like, hey, we're saying this very specific thing about a character. We hope if this line gets changed, it doesn't come back to bite us in the butt. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
3 months later, oh, plot changed, blah, blah, blah. And yeah. There's so many interesting things where sometimes we're just gonna be like, all right, let's look into the light novel. Like I know like a lot of the times when I'm in a show, I will just read the light novel in advance just to help kind of more inform me on my characters, and sometimes it helps a lot. Like I was on a show not that long ago where we, because scheduling things, they had to transfer hands from the main director to another main director. And I walk into the new director's booth, and since I was the lead of the show, and he's like, "All right, this is gonna be easy peasy. You've been doing this for 5 episodes already. You know your character. It's gonna be a breeze." And I'll be like, "I got some bad news for you, buddy.
I don't remember a damn
Episode
thing.
5." Oh yeah, it's not even. It's worse than that. It's
Oh no.
bad news. You thought it was gonna be a breeze? We have a time skip this episode. My character has aged several years. His voice is gonna change. There's like several things changing in the show, and he's like, "What? No!"
Gotcha.
You know? Yeah, it's just fun, but it's real comfy when like when you're an actor in the booth and the director is open to collaboration and stuff like that. Like I'll have times where an actor would be like, "Hey, can I try something?" And they'll like ad lib a line, or they'll do like their own version of a line, and I'll be like, "You know what? I
I
like
like
that
that
better than what
better.
we got before.
Yeah.
Put that on there." You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Oh yeah. That's my
I
favorite
always
part.
enjoy that.
That's my favorite part. It's like when an actor will give me something that either is like spot on from what I'm thinking or like something even better than what I'm thinking. Like Anthony and I will like verbalize it. We're like, "Oh, yes, that's right." And then it just like it feels so amazing because you're like, "Oh, like you brought something completely you to this that even we couldn't like bring out. Like you just did it, and like whether you controlled it or not for fate or whatever, it just came out and it did what it needed to do, and we're like, that is the one. Like when you get the one, you're like, that we cooked. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. So like don't knock like some ad lib or like trying something different. Like you don't have to match like exactly what the preview does or whatever what the Seiyu does. Like you have room to make it your own. And I'm always encouraging actors. It's like, yeah, it's also your project. So it's like, bring in what you did in your audition or like what you naturally have as you as an actor, and just make it your own because that's what makes things interesting as opposed to, oh, all these lines sound very anime-y and it's, it fits, but it's not like it's not grounded in a way that is completely unique to what this specific actor could do with this specific character, because it's like there's some, I'm not going to name, it's just like in general there's like some where it's just you hear a certain voice and you're like, someone else could have done that like the exact same way, but then you hear this specific one and you're like, oh, there's some certain nuance you just can't describe that just fits so perfectly for it. Like even if they have a completely like similar voice print to somebody else, it's just how they naturally are as an actor and what they bring to this character, and this characterization is just so nuanced in a way that you can't describe but works perfectly. You're like, okay, that's the one. We can't do anything else. So it's the little things, those strong choices you make. Doesn't have to be big, just strong. That make something completely yours, but still, in line with what you honor the original. So it's that fine balance. But I think that's the fun challenge. It's so technical, it's so challenging, but once you see it come together, it just sings. Like we were working on our dubbing projects together, Anthony and I, and then we would like listen back and we're like, oh my gosh, this is like coming together, because like we bring actors in like one at a time, right? And like you start to hear them even unmixed. It's like you hear them on top of each other and you're like, okay, yeah, like we're cooking something really cool. So like once you hear this mix, like this is gonna be amazing. So like imagine just like hearing that over a couple weeks of recording, and then you're like, oh, yeah. Like I can't believe I did this sometimes. So it's like so humbling, and you're like, yeah, we did this together, and it's just a really indescribable feeling when you're like, yeah, we did this, and like somebody trusted me to do this and trusted my taste and my vision and thought I could do it. Um, it's just an indescribable feeling for me. So I can't thank people enough to like bring me in and be like, yeah, we want you to direct this or be in it. And I'm like, okay, let's try it. And then it always works out, for better or for worse,
Yeah,
in whatever experience. But
I
it's just
agree. Like
an
when it
awesome
gets to the
feeling.
end and you're listening to it come together, it's always like, oh, wait, like it's good. Like
Like it's
it
actually
fits,
good.
it
Like,
flows, it's so nice. Like I
mhm.
mean, I not that I thought it wouldn't be, but it's just always surprising because you're just so used to hearing the original and then just hearing the one character that you worked with and then
Yeah.
having them come
Yeah.
Yeah, and
together
like
and
you hear your characters play off of each other, even though
yeah,
in
yeah.
session, like they were obviously talking to thin air. It's like that's the power of you as an actor. It's like, you see the preview, you process that very quickly, and then you record, and then you do the magic, and then trust that the director will take the take that works the best in that context, and then you hear it come together, and you're like, yeah, that cooked. So, um, just trust the process, because the final product, like, becomes amazing once everything comes together. So if you're an actor in the booth and you're like, that line was shit, it probably wasn't. So even if you do like a bunch of retakes, like, I know for me it's like if I get stuck on a line because I just like can't say the word, or
Yeah, because
like we're
it's
just
like
not getting
yes.
the
It's usually like a one word that you get stuck on that.
mhm. Yeah,
For
or
whatever
it's like this
reason.
this like certain feeling we kind of want to like get but can't quite get it, and it's like you do takes over and over again, and you're the actor in the booth and you're like, I am the worst person on earth. And you're like, no, it's just like we're trying to fix this one thing, you're fine. And for us, working in that very specific program, like it's tough because it's very specific in what it wants us to do with it. But I bet we have a lot of freedom, if we had an engineer and things like that. So it just depends on, the situation you're recording in. But for the most part, it's like, just don't knock yourself as the actor being like, we've done this take like 30 times. I have no idea what to do. Because like we're just trying to like fix something like very nuanced and like be very particular. Um, so it's just you're not ass. I can assure you, you're not an ass. You're fine. It's just we're trying to fix something.
I'm
Yeah.
curious about um the types of actors that you both have worked with, both that you've like really enjoyed, or in both, and also ones that you've kind of been like a little averse. Like, I mean, they're fine and they're great, but I'd prefer to not work with this type of person. Like, is that even the case? Because for me, I've worked with tons of people who like it's their first time dubbing, or people who've been doing dubbing for like 15 plus years. um, a lot of the time I seem to really enjoy working with those who are like have been acting for maybe 20 years doing on film camera stuff or theater, and then they come and they're doing dubbing for like their first or second time. I always really enjoy working with them because they're so fresh to it and they're so excited about it. And they're always so like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like, I don't really know what I'm doing, and that was really bad." I was like, "No, you're fine, like, that was great. We just need to, clean this up right here, and that's not a big deal." But are there types of actors that you've worked with that you've been, like, super pumped and, like, so excited about, and then others where maybe you're like, "Ooh, that was okay, but it wasn't, like, the best session?"
There are a lot of actors that have been around for a while and just knock things out of the park. And even if the first take isn't perfect, the little direction you give them
Mm,
gets it perfect immediately the next time. So there's a list of actors who do stuff like that. Like I've worked with obviously Chris Sabat, voice of Vegeta. Brittany Karbowski's really great. Rico Fajardo's super amazing. I could list off
mm.
amazing actors for days. So yeah, those are always easy P sessions. I'm like, we're gonna end early. It's gonna be a breeze. We can even play around and get some crazy takes just because we want to be, little zesty, And
Yeah.
those are good times. I find like if an actor isn't as experienced, it can go either two different ways because it can be an uphill battle a lot
Mm.
of the time, but it does make it feel so much more rewarding when you do get that take you wanted. Like, yes, and as we go through the session, it becomes less effort to get the things going because then they start locking in with you and getting in the groove of kind of the things of
Mhm.
what you want, so it becomes easier.
Mhm.
So I really enjoy those kind of things. I feel like probably the most difficult kind of actor is just one that just isn't very creative in their own right. We like creativity is just real helpful. So sometimes if they just don't have their own ideas to kind of help get them to where you want to be, that can
Yeah.
put you at a stalemate for things.
Yeah.
And then just sometimes the other spectrum is like maybe actors who are how do I say this? Intense creatives
Yes.
who where it's like, all right, now tell me the backstory on why you want me to say this in this way and this way. Why does my character look like this and this and this? And I'm like, sir, your line is class starts at 3 p.m. You're the teacher. I need you to,
Yeah,
it's not that deep.
It's not that deep. That's so true. It's
For
so
real.
true.
I think for me, I love actors who are open to collaborating and open to being directed. Take direction really, really easily. Like if you can translate my nonsense and put it into words that match the performance I need, you're golden. Um, so like just people who are open to trying new things and not being afraid to come up with things on their own too, because I'm like, you know, I'll give you the preview and it's like process whatever you saw and then translate it in a way that, you know, makes sense for the context and your character and, you know, whatever you want to do. And you know, just hitting going big first, and just like having me pull you back before having to push you forward and like push you further, you know. It's always like, oh, I need more energy here, I need this to be more intense, you know. It's a lot easier to just swing big or swing hard and miss hard, as opposed to, you know, okay, just a little bit more, right? So just like just go for it, you know. um and then actors that are a bit difficult to work with sometimes are ones that, um, like not to say like it's not okay to like apologize and like be insecure, but like ones that like genuinely are like very insecure about like their ability, because like you really should trust that you are brought in for a reason. Like I say this to all my actors, I'm like, we bring you in for a reason. It's because you're awesome and we want to work with you, and we're not going to fire you. Like you're amazing. And like you bring in what the foundation we need for this character and for this project, and we're going to build on top of that. So it's like trust that you have everything I need to make something extraordinary. So it's like come in, don't apologize for messing up a take, don't apologize for being like, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I, you know, did this, and like I don't care, let's just reset and let's do it again. And like just someone who's like willing to just like keep up with the pace of ADR and dubbing. It's so quick. We just have to keep moving forward. So just adapting to that on the fly and just trusting that the takes that we directors choose are the ones that are going to work in context with everything else. Even if you hate that take, sorry, but it's going to work with everything else. Um, so
Yeah.
just like if you do feel insecure about a take or like have an idea, I suggest don't like voicing that necessarily. Don't be like, "Oh, that was so bad." Don't say that. We don't really care as directors.
That's like
But also,
one of the worst things you can do, especially if the director's like, but I liked it.
yeah, it's like, why do you
Like
doubt? Like,
puts
are
you
you
in like an
doubting
awkward
me?
position.
Like,
Like,
yeah, it
but it
brings
was
up
good,
really
I thought.
weird, like weird emotions, and you don't want to do that, right? So just like accept what you put down, and then if the director has feedback, you're like, okay, let's do something else, or okay, we're moving on. Great, awesome. So like that's all you need to do is just go with the flow and be, just be in the moment, and don't be rude, be kind, be respectful, and know again, like always reiterate to yourself, it's like you are collaborators. Like it's not like a hierarchy. Like there is a hierarchy, but like for the most part, most directors, in my experience, are like very collaborative, and we're all working towards the same thing, right? So it's like I need you as the actor to perform, and then you need me as a director to like guide you in certain ways. So it's like we can't get there without each other. So it's like why would we not perform our best together? So just trust each other, no matter what, and trust whatever the director needs from you is what is going to benefit the project the most. So just like swing hard, miss hard, and go with the flow, and just like just do it. Whatever the
Yeah.
director says, do it. Don't talk back. Just do it. So just
Yeah.
have fun too. It's supposed to be fun. It's challenging, but there's fun in that challenge. And if we wouldn't be doing this work if we didn't love it. So just ride with that and be like, yeah, I get to do anime. I get to be in a movie. I get to be in a show. Just thrive in that because it's not everybody gets to do this. Um, so it's just live in that space. It's really fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
piggybacking off of that, when it comes to like just do it, it's so true. Like if the director tells you to do something, even if it like doesn't make sense or you think like that can't be correct, just do it because at least for in my experience, when I tell somebody to do something and then it doesn't work, I'm like, okay, that was horrible. Like I should have never said that. Let's next we're gonna go a different direction. But thank you for doing it because now I know that was wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't think that like it's your fault, like because like we've got this idea that we're trying, or we've got this like vision that we're really trying to go
Mhm.
for, and then we don't really know until we hear it sometimes, and then we hear it and we're like, okay, yeah, that works, or no, that doesn't work. Let's move forward.
Yeah. Own
Yeah.
every take as if it's the take they're gonna use. And if they don't, then you're like, okay, we'll just do another and then move on. Don't be like, oh, that take was so bad. I sounded terrible. Like, I tell my actors this all the time. If there's just like a natural voice crack and they're like, oh, my voice cracked, it was terrible. I love voice cracks because it's just so natural. And it like sometimes it works really well with a character.
Hmm.
Like my nerdy characters, I'm like, give me voice cracks, guys. Like, it's so fun. So like whatever your voice naturally does or whatever you're naturally feeling in that moment as you're performing, just own it. And then, whatever you snap out of it after you perform or whatever, but um don't be like you immediately do it and you're like, oh, that was shit. Like I don't care if you think it's shit. I have to like see if it fits the flaps. I have to see if it fits the context, the energy, and if it does, great. I'm keeping it. I don't care what you think. I mean, I do, but like like, you know what I'm saying. So just be
Yeah.
like, I'm owning this take. If it doesn't work, we try again and we do another.
With
Oh
dubs
wow.
too, like, yeah, flubbing, it's better to just say, oops, sorry, can we do that again? Versus just if you flub, you take a half second break to recenter yourself and you just say the line again, even if it's not too flap at that point, because 9 out of 10 times our engineer's rolling anyway, and then we're just
Yep.
gonna slide that take back into place. And sometimes it
Yep.
works. And
Yep.
you've just saved us all a whole lot of time having to start from the beginning. And we love that way more than just saying, sorry, can we start from the beginning? Not that we have an
Yeah.
issue with saying from
Hmm.
the beginning, but it saves more time, less time beating yourself up versus just doing it again immediately and having a
Yeah,
safe it works.
I think that
Yeah.
comes from a lot of like experienced actors. They know that because they've done it so often that they know to do that. But a lot of the new actors,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, sorry, like let's just restart. And I'm like, well, in the future, just do
Just
it
keep
again
going.
because I can move it. Like we can still use it. We're still recording, so just
Yeah.
try to
It's
save it. If you
always
can
it's
save it, save it.
yeah, it's everyone's job to make everybody else's job easier. So it's like you as the actor, you want to perform your best, like be efficient in the takes you perform. So it's like go big first and then you can be pulled back if needed, as opposed to I have to do 20 takes to get you to that energy I need you to be at. As the director, it's like we just need to keep flying. So if you can make my job easier as the director by like giving me one and done takes, then we get to get out of this session quicker and you get paid the same. So you save time, you save money, and you just have fun. So
Yeah.
do that. Make my job easier because then I want to bring you back. Um, so things like that.
Yeah. And I'd say there's some other questions that were in the chat earlier, but like
Yeah.
going backwards to creativity as an unable to do very takes. I wouldn't say like that is it in a form, but creativity as in not being able to look at your line from a different perspective. Like if you can
Hmm.
only see your line in one way, then that could be shown as like a lack of creativity. Because we can like beat you over the head with so many different line variations, line directions, but if you can't see yourself saying that take in a different way, then it's never gonna come out right.
Mhm.
So that's a
Yeah, yeah.
struggle in its own way.
Yeah, that was a really good question that Sam Bob asked about creativity because, and I've come across that problem too with actors where it's from my perspective, it's like I have to like hold their hand and like lead them and make the choices for them, which I
Yeah.
can do if I have to, but I don't want to, because then
Yeah.
it's like I'm losing out on like the precious thing that the other person is supposed to be bringing to the character or to the product. And then it's just
Yeah.
like
Sometimes it
just
feels like a
me and
little too
only me.
doctored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's like we want to give you the space to like make it your own, right? And it's like again, finding the sweet balance between honoring the original while also bringing something that's completely yours. And it's hard, but you got to trust each other as the actor and the director and the engineer and the writer and the adapter and everybody in that space, to be like, yeah, this is the vision we have together, and we're going to trust that. We're going to bring it out together in a very unique way that nobody else could ever do. Um, so relish in that, because you're all unique and it's fun, and you all have very unique perspectives, even if you don't think you do. So be
And
unique.
then Lisa had another question.
Mm.
yeah.
Liza, did you, in the beginning of your directing, did y'all beat yourselves up too? Like, man, I don't know if this is the right way after listening to the final product.
Hmm.
I think
Um.
we have checks. Like we do QA right before we send it off to um, final like mixing. So it's like we'll listen through it and be like, that doesn't really, like, we take a break because it's like we do recording, and then you don't really hear, everything, because you're like you become desensitized, at least for me, listening to the same, takes over and over again. So like having a little bit of the break once everything's together during the QA check, and then you hear it all come together and you're like, that one doesn't really fit the energy we need. So let's do a pickup on that and things like that. So that's where pickups come in. In terms of like the final product, I think for the most part, uh, you just kind of wait and see. You just wait and see until it comes out. But yeah, it's your job as a director to do the heavy lifting all the way before and make sure all the checks, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and make sure everything is good to go before you even start recording, uh, just so everything's in line. And then you do things in pickups, or things like that. But um, I don't know. At least for like as a director, I doubt myself all the time. But like it's like when I'm listening to something, because like I'm so ingrained in it and I've listened to it so much, that's when I'm desensitized. So like I need people like Anthony, or like my assistant director, or just somebody to like listen to it and also give me the feedback. To be like, oh yeah, this one you fits great, or like this one could be tweaked a little bit. But as me, the director, like I get final say. So it's less, I think it's very helpful to have a fresh perspective from someone else, just to get, a different perspective, right? Because I'm so ingrained in it. So it's like knowing other people see things in a different way, and could bring something really special to it that I missed, um, is so insightful. So I always get people to listen to my stuff, because I'm like, I don't know if this is good, guys. I've been stuck on this for hours, and I just need an extra ear. And then someone will give me something, and I'm like, that's it. So have a buddy to listen to your stuff, if you can. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, did that answer the question?
I believe so. At least in my case, to answering that question, I can't really think of many times where I was like, oh, I didn't know if this was the right way. Just mainly because I'm, as an assistant, I am generally not casting the actors here. I'm jumping in and filling in for director. So I'm going to sit there and get the best take I possibly can off of each one. And if I'm like, I'm not really sure about that, it's generally like, but thinking back, that was the best version of this take that we could have got. We did our
Mm.
Yeah.
best with that. So that's
Your
just what
take.
it is. And even that feeling is super rare because I'll usually hammer in a take until I'm happy and I hear it enough times. And I'm like, actually, that's the one I think fits, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
I'm with
not,
you.
yeah, it's never, oh, I guess we'll go with that one. It's, yeah, I think that works.
That was
Cool. Yeah, you know?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
true. Like
Yeah.
it's never the case where I'm just like, oh well, yeah, we'll go with
Yeah, it's
that.
never. It is what it is.
Yeah,
We're that's the best take. We're going with that one. You know.
Yeah. In the time allotted, because we don't have a lot of time. So it's like,
Exactly. Sometimes we have 5 to 10 minutes. I think the shortest session I've ever directed was a 5-minute session. I'm like, going real fast with
Yeah,
it.
literally.
They're usually
I've dir-
one-liners, but like,
yeah.
sometimes if you're not getting the take on the first try, it's like, okay, we gotta work on this.
Yeah.
I've directed a 5-minute session, but never been like limited to literally only 5 minutes.
Yup.
It's usually
Sometimes.
been like, oh, I think it's gonna take us like half an hour, and then we finish in 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, great, perfect, awesome.
Bye. Bye.
Yup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
I hope that answered your question. Yeah, I guess like imposter syndrome, I think we all kind of suffer. I don't want to speak for everyone, but like in my experience talking to my friends and people around me, imposter syndrome is a very hard thing to shake. Um, no matter where you are in your career, even if you're been in this 10, 20, 30 years, um, it's surreal to just be in a space like this because like who could say that they're like doing stuff like this? Not a lot of people. So relish in that and be like like I keep saying, I always tell my actors, I'm like, you are there for a reason. You are there because we want you there, and you bring exactly what we need. And if we do a little bit of directing here and there to just guide the performance in whatever context we need, that's it, right? But you as the actor brought in what we needed in your audition, in your demo, whatever. So trust that and embrace that because that is the thing that got you there. Um, so get out of here, imposter. You're not an imposter. You're awesome.
Yeah, I think the best thing for imposter syndrome is literally just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Just don't think
I'm
about it.
awesome. Bye. I'm here. Whatever.
No, obviously, you want to
Awesome.
think about like how to get better and like the things that you can work on, but don't listen to that voice that's telling you you're bad, you shouldn't be here, you don't deserve, you're not worthy, whatever. Just literally just
Yeah.
get rid of that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Got a couple questions. Getting close on time, but let's see. Wearing both hats, has it gotten easier to be more subjective about your own reads?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Yeah, hearing all the way other people act and from like actors who have way more experience, actors who have less experience, you really do see where you stand and you can be more confident in the choices that you make and know immediately like, hey, this is the bad choice. Oh, this is a good choice.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah, it helps a ton in my opinion. Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
Feel
and I think
Yeah.
what you're saying is so important, like bad choice versus good choice. It's not necessarily right or wrong choice, right? Like maybe a better
yeah.
choice, right? And it just helps you to
Hmm.
go in the better direction.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So that's for me.
And you get to see things in a more holistic sense because as actors, we're limited to whatever character or characters we have, right? But like if I'm reading the sides in my audition, I'm like, what's the scene that I am creating in my mind that my character is in that I can like embody them in, right? It's like, am I in a big cavern? So I don't maybe I'm projecting more because my scene partner's farther away. Maybe it's a very intimate space and my partner is right in my face so I don't have to yell. It's proximity, it's classic like scene creation, right? Acting stuff. But that's what, pushes people further than you would expect, right? So it's like people who just read the line in an anime-esque read is not going to catch your ear as much as someone who, is creating a scene for us in just their voice. Like they're panting because they're running and they're tripping and they're messing up their words, things like that. Like your reads don't have to be clean as you think they do. It's just whatever feels natural to whatever that character is, right? So like seeing things more holistically, it's like it's more than just my character. It's like their relationship with their scene partner, their relationship with who they're talking to, who they're talking about, where they are in the scene, what happened right before they started talking in the scene, all of these things, right? So you see things beyond just you, and it helps you to place your character in a more interesting place than if you just read the line for whatever sake, right?
Right. And then let's see here. What's the most challenging scene that you have directed and how did you do it? Huh.
Mm,
Most challenging scene that I have
fun.
directed. That's an interesting one. Um I'd probably say like one really memorable scene that I directed I can't really say it was the hardest one, but it was definitely a challenge because I had to direct both sides of a conversation between characters, and that was in Make in Too Many Losing Heroines. I had to basically direct a love confession between two different characters that was basically requited, but they could never be a thing because the guy was with somebody else already, and it was such a nuanced deliveries of talking about childhood to them confessing to walking home after the fact, and it was just a very deep and layered conversation that was very difficult to get all the points across, but we did it and it sounded really great at the end of it. So I'd say it's probably like one of my most memorable difficult sessions per se, like not because anybody like wasn't doing what I wanted to, but it's just such a nuanced scene, and we had to do both sides of the conversation, so it was really nice.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think. I'd have to think for a long time about that question, but I can't think of anything at the moment, so I'll just move forward to not waste time.
You can
Yeah.
always come back to it. Yeah. Okay.
Fun question. Any great ADR Walla moments, such sessions that you can recall?
Ah, man. Well, like I don't know. I've done a lot of wallet in my days. Like I was in the like called the Walla gulags for like a couple years. Like it's like 2020 to 2022 ish. There was a time where like we were doing only remote Walla, and my house was like the first and only Walla group for a really long time that was working with like Crunchyroll and a bunch of the other studios out here. So we were in every show. So there are plenty of screaming, plenty of depth charge, plenty of just ripping your throat out. And yeah, that was a time. So I don't think I've really directed any super ridiculous Walla off the top of my head, but I've had to definitely give some ridiculous direction for Walla. I'm like, all right, you're vampires. You're rich vampires. You hate the poor. You hate the vampires who drink rat blood. They're disgusting. How dare they? But you're smart. You drink snake blood, yeah, the rich kind, yeah. And just really dumb directions. I remember one time I was directing a scene of like mafia hitman who fight ghosts, and we did the take, and I'm like, all right, let's do that again. But why did you all sound like you were New York construction workers? I need you to bring that back. Like that's different. That's something else. I think the hardest part about directing Walla is just wrangling in the actors though, because there's everyone wants to make jokes, somebody wants to be the loudest in the room. It's like, no, you need to all be a one cohesive
Yeah.
unit. No one needs to stand out. Just be a part of the group. You don't need to impress me. I'm not the one you need to impress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonna directed a really
Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
us.
everybody.